Where the dickens is she? Lizzie! Georgie! Jane is not here. Tell Mama she has run out into the rain. Bad animal!
She's in the window seat, to be sure, John.
What do you want?
You say, what do you want, Master Reed? Now come over here. Now let me tell you something about your parents, alright? They died because you're so ugly! Now that was for your impudence in answering my mama the other day. And for your sneaking behind that curtain. What were you even doing behind that curtain?
I was reading.
Show me the book. What business do you have taking our books? You're a dependent, Mama says. Now I'll teach you to rummage through my bookshelves, for they are mine. This whole house is mine, or at least it will be in a couple of years. Now, go stand over there, away from the windows and mirrors.
You wicked, cruel boy! You are like a murderer! You are like a slave driver! You are like the Roman emperors!
What? What? Did you just say that to me? You rat!
Dear, what a fury to fly at Master John!
Did ever anybody see such a picture of passion?
Stop! Send her to the red room and lock her in it!
No!
Come along, Miss Eyre. No. Sit down. Hold still. Hold her, Abbot, for she is like a mad cat.
Such striking behavior, Miss Eyre. To strike your benefactress's son, your young master. Master! Is he my master? Am I a servant? No, for you are less than your servant. You do nothing for your keep. Now sit down and think about your wickedness.
If you do not stop stirring, we will have to find some rope. Abbot, tie her down.
Don't! Terence, I will not stop!
You know, she has not in the past.
But it's always been in her. I have talked to the mistress about her behavior, and she agrees with me that she is a wicked child. I've never seen such a child her age with such cover.
Miss Eyre, you ought to know. You are under obligations to Mrs. Reed. She keeps you. She feeds you. You have a home. But if you were to turn her off, she would send you to the poorhouse.
You ought not think of yourself on an equality with Mrs. and Master Reed, for they keep you here generously. They have much money and you have none.
My dear, we tell you this for your own good. If you were to be pleasant and useful, you would have, as I have said, a home here. A nice home, a pleasant home. But if you become passionate and rude, you will be sent away. Mrs. said, I am sure.
Besides, God will punish her. He might strike her dead in the midst of one of her tantrums, and then where would she go? You better say your prayers, Miss Eyre, for if you do not repent, something may come down the chimney and fetch you away.
Superstition was with me at that moment, but it was not yet her hour for complete victory. My blood was still warm, the mood of the revolted slave was still bracing me with its bitter vigor. I had to stem a rapid rush of retrospective thought before I quailed to the dismal present. All John Reed's violent tyrannies, all his sister's proud indifference, all his mother's aversion, all the servants' partiality, turned up in my disturbed mind like a dark deposit in a turbid well. Why was I always suffering, always browbeaten, always accused, forever condemned? Why could I never please? Why was it useless to try to win anyone's favor? Eliza, who was headstrong and selfish, was respected. Georgiana, who had a spoiled temper, a very acrid spite, a captious and insolent carriage, was universally indulged. Her beauty, her pink cheeks and golden curls, seemed to give delight to all who looked at her, and to purchase indemnity for every fault. John no one thwarted, much less punished, though he twisted the necks of the pigeons, killed the little pea-chicks, set the dogs of the sheep, stripped the hothouse vines of their fruit, and broke the buds off the choicest plants of the conservatory. He called his mother old girl, too, sometimes, reviled her for her dark skin, similar to his own, bluntly disregarded her wishes, not unfrequently tore and spoiled her silk attire, and he was still her own little darling. I dared commit no fault. I strove to fulfill every duty, and was termed naughty and tiresome, sullen and sneaking, from morning to noon and from noon to night. My head still ached and bled with the blow and fall I had received. No one had reproved John for wantonly striking me, and because I had turned against him to avert further irrational violence, I was loaded with general opprobrium. Unjust, unjust, said my reason, forced by the agonizing stimulus into precocious though transitory power, and resolve, equally wrought up, instigated some strange expedient to achieve escape from insupportable oppression, as running away, or, if that could not be effected, never eating or drinking more, and letting myself die.
Miss Eyre! Jane! Are you okay? Are you ill?
Oh, what a dreadful noise! It went quite through me! I want another nurse! Take me out!
Why? What for? Have you seen something? Have you heard?
A ghost! It was an apparition! It was a ghost! Help me, God! Help me! Oh, hi!
Sit down. We know you screamed out purposely. If it would have been in great pain, we would have excused you. But we know you naughty tricks. You just wanted to bring us here.
What is all this? I thought I told you to not come in here until I got the chance to talk to her.
Well, Mrs. Reed, Jane, she yelled so loudly we had no option but to come here.
Let go of his hand, child. You will not succeed in getting out of here by these means. I bore artifice, especially in children, and it is my duty to teach you that tricks are not the answer. Now you have to stay in for another hour.
Oh, Aunt, have pity! I cannot endure it! Let me endure some other punishment! I shall be killed if...
Silence! I will not stand for this violence.
Oh my gosh! 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 Oh my gosh!
Alright, hello. My name is Marxist, as you can tell by my name tag.
I am feminism, and you can't tell me what to do.
Hi guys, I'm the near historicist.
Hi!
Hello, I am the id, ego, and superego.
And I am the second view of psychoanalysis that deals with the author. Okay, you guys, so we just finished our filming of the first scene in Jane Eyre, the Red Room. So let's talk about it. What do you think?
The Red Room definitely represents the box that Jane is kept in by society due to her class and the struggles that she faces due to her class. And by calling her cousin John a slave driver and a murderer and a Roman emperor, Jane emphasizes her recognition of the corruption inherent in the ruling class.
No, it's corrupted because of men. John is a man, and that's why he treats her like she is, because she's a woman.
Why is your name tag upside down?
Why is the view of the woman upside down?
You guys are just both wrong. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, have you read Jane Eyre? Did you read the front of the book that says Charlotte Bronte? Yes?
I did, yes.
Yes. Do you know who Charlotte Bronte is?
I don't really think it matters.
It does. It's her. It's like an autobiography. This is her life. She was an orphan. She is Jane. It's an expression of emotion, and it doesn't follow her life to a T, but it's what's important, and it conveys a social message that her life conveyed.
Was she also poor?
That doesn't even matter.
Speaking of it not following her life to a T, that's actually something that, well, us researcher types actually look into. Back in that time, women were oppressed. For what we know from her, she had to write under a pseudonym. I mean, obviously, it was probably a male pseudonym, hello? And in doing that, she couldn't express even her full views. It's not about who the characters were or using the characters to actually be people. It's about what viewer understanding of the relevant culture is expressed in that book.
You don't even know what you're talking about, okay? You and your research know nothing about Charlotte Bronte and what she's actually about.
You and your
strong
being her
woman.
doesn't know anything at all about her time in that past.
She was probably oppressed by the rich.
She probably was. She was probably oppressed by men. I mean, for all we know, she's a strong, independent woman, but...
A man probably wrote this book for all we know.
She was oppressed by the rich, by men.
You can't just say that not everybody sees the blatant put down of the lower class here. Because everybody interprets it differently. No, they don't. Everybody sees that the rich rule.
I'm
No one
not.
interprets that.
I am not
Okay, at least
arguing with her part.
she's more right than you. Because it is set in stone. It is a book. It has letters on the page. Do you see that? Do
Listen
you see
here.
this? Do you see the name on the cover?
Pause.
Aggressive letters made by ink that cost money, I must
I'm not
say.
disagreeing with your
my
point at
God.
all. I'm saying because people were oppressed, we don't know the full truth because the people who were not oppressed, the people who weren't in their own little boxes or whatever, are the ones who had influence and had everything appear as it is today.
No, when
Exactly.
someone's writing,
Oppressed by the rich.
No, when someone's writing a book about their life, they're not thinking about the rich. They're not thinking about the time.
Who
They're
says
thinking
that it's
the
about her
self.
life?
Who says it isn't? It is
The reader. It's up to the reader.
No, it is concrete proof.
And it's up to the
No,
reader
no.
to paste
So
everything
you're trying to
together.
tell me that Harry Potter is based off somebody's whole life?
Are you ridiculous? Prove to me it isn't. Prove to me it isn't.
Okay, let's bring it back to the box. Let's bring it back to the
No,
box.
he's trying to talk. Let my counterpart speak.
Okay, let's bring it back to the box. Or, the Red Room. And how that oppressed her basic desire of a lasting love. Alright? She, when she was in the Red Room, she, saw how she's enslaved to Mrs. Reed and how she is always desiring a lasting love.
She's enslaved because Mrs. Reed is rich.
She's enslaved because those were her emotions at the time.
She's enslaved. Society has placed that burden on her. With
Why?
Her gender.
Why?
Her gender.
No. No. Let
No,
him continue
hey,
speaking.
I
Go back
agree
to the
with
box.
you.
At
I
least
agree
he's
with the
making-
box
At
more
least
than I
he's
agree with
making
you.
some kind of sense.
Continue.
So, when Jane discovers this enslavement, she is very cautious about actually when she finds love in Mr. Rochester. Like later on, she has to wait until she meets him again.
Okay. So, you guys are all wrong because it's just about her life. It's not about society or.
It's more
No,
than
it is about
like,
society.
about
It is about
class.
society. Society
No.
placed certain standards on her that she had to live up to.
But not because she was a
You
woman.
can't know what to
No.
We don't
No,
know.
it's because
You know,
it is
you
because
know,
you are a woman,
what?
not poor. If you are a woman, rich or poor,
Yes, it does.
does it though?
I
You cannot
can't
tell me
Oh
that
my
if she's
God.
not rich,
Okay,
she would be
guys,
able to sit.
guys,
Oh my
sir,
God.
here's what-
being oppressed by Mr. Neo-Historicist. Just because I'm poor. Anyways, I had to get going to work now because I'm the only one who actually works.
I am a strong, independent woman who don't need no man.
I'm not trying to disagree or agree with anyone. Nothing, you can't know what's true. I mean, seriously, we need all points, which we were kind of getting in this interview. We just needed to mesh it all together. But as you can see, what happens is everybody fights. So all it really is just individual interpretations that make the culture, which is what the book reflects, change and be dynamic.
And at least we're less crazy than all of those people. Yeah. He actually knows what he's talking about and has some serious thoughts. And just because he's quiet doesn't mean that he's not smart. Tell him what you think about the Red Room. Good. See? Quiet, to the point. Thank you. Now I get to talk. These people don't know anything, okay? This is about Charlotte Bronte. Charlotte Bronte. Not Charlotte's Web, not the world, not if you're poor. These people are crazy. Thank you.